Welcome guys to one of the best, the greatest color grading tutorial ever made on YouTube and pretty much anywhere else. So today we're going to be doing really cool Blockbuster look, completely professional, looks high-end, not cheesy green and orange, whatever all the other tutorials do. This is going to be high-end Hollywood stuff right over here. Before we're gonna start, I want to say special thank you to Pascal Payant for providing me this really cool footage from the movie On the Horizon. So I'm going to leave the link in the description below. Make sure guys to check it out, watch it, you're gonna enjoy it. So let's jump straight into it, and it's gonna be kick-ass tutorial, I promise you that. Alright. So we are going to be working in this tutorial with the ACES color space. Originally we have a raw file that been shot on the Dragon sensor, or I believe so, it was a Dragon sensor. Anyways, it was a red lock film, okay, the typical red stuff. Let's not get too much into this, and let's convert this into ACES. So for this one I'm going to be using ACES CC. Oh, and by the way, before you guys do any kind of future conversion, make sure to take a quick look how your waveform looks like and how your image looks like. Because sometimes it may happen, you may select something different in ACES that you're not supposed to, maybe different color profile, whatnot, and you may not notice because, let's say, the sensor is similar, blah, blah, blah. So it's very nice to look at the log and take a quick note. So what's a quick note? Quick note over here that we don't see really much details over here. Also, we have a little bit of noise going on, and on the lights, let's take a look. We see all the information basically in the highlights, the car headlights not blown up. So this kind of stuff very important before you do a conversion, because ACES is still, in my experience, it's still being in the stages of development. And sometimes I notice when you convert, sometimes things look a little bit funky. So it's very nice when you kind of pay attention to what you do. That way you get the maximum result from the ACES. Okay, let's turn all the stuff over here. So we have input red lock film, ACES output Rec 709, which is still a standard. So now we convert our lock into Rec 709. And from very beginning, I really like how it looks. I think it did a pretty good job preserving everything. Looks very cinematic from the beginning. So, let me create a new node. And in this node, I'm gonna call this white balance. I'm not going to be doing any kind of exposure adjustment because I think by default this shot looks really, really good. I really like it. However, your case may be different, so always do exposure adjustment from the very beginning. So white balance, I want to dial it down a little bit. I kind of want to introduce this a little bit cold, sort of a little bit teal look. I think it looks pretty cool. Okay, let's check it out really quick, before and after. Okay, looks great. Probably let's do a little bit more that way we can see how it looks. All right, let's see, before and after, before and after. That looks really good. Next step, I want to bring attention to this middle area over here. And we need to understand one thing. We have two planes going on simultaneously. We have the ground, which is right over here. And then we have this, I don't know, this some kind of machinery. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I can't see. So we have plane and we have the machinery. So basically think of the machinery as the wall and plane over here. I want to make viewer eye in the center of all this. So let me create a new node, and I'm gonna call this lights. Okay, And what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go to the qualifier. Okay, I'm only gonna select luminance. Let's see, let me click somewhere over here. Okay, like that looks great. Da 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 da. Let's see, like that. Always feather as much as you can, because the more you feather, the softer the selection gonna be, and you're not gonna get any kind of crazy, funky dancing noise like you would without feathering, especially if you're selecting skin tones and stuff like that. But we'll cover this kind of stuff in the future tutorials, so make sure to be subscribed, otherwise you're gonna miss really gold material over here. All right, so lights, I want to make more accent on the lights. I want to make them warmer, so very simple. Gamma, we're just gonna add a little bit more warmth to it. Okay, just like that. Don't go too much. Like, once your lights start looking like this, then all of a sudden we're in a cheap, crappy color grading amateur world. So pay attention just a little bit. In the professional color grading, you want to do very slight adjustments. You don't want to be doing crazy adjustments, making things look green, blue, and orange and all that, because it looks very unprofessional and very amateur. Okay, so let me kind of go back a little bit, back off with this. I want to spread that little warmth a little bit more. Okay, so before and after, we can see that it started affecting the pipe over here. Let me show you again, before and after, before and after. Hopefully YouTube compression gonna take mercy on this. All right, next node. Now I want to start basically focusing the light over here. And how I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna create a little circle over here. Very simple. And basically, let me squish it a little bit, kind of like that. Basically, I want to sort of follow the rules of physics, whatever the light is, and just work with that, work with the nature. I don't like working against the nature, I like working with it. So if we're gonna see the selection, again, let's go to the qualifier, let's go to the Luma, and let's get rid of all the black. I don't really need black. I want to be working with the color over here, because black basically have no information, so we don't need that. Okay, like that. Okay, again, very nice and soft. All right, so now we have this, let me call this plant. Now we have plant. Okay, let me zoom in, and basically I can do a very simple trick. I can just simply start increasing the contrast. And with the pivot point of the contrast, let me go over here so you can see. With the pivot point of the contrast, we can start introducing a little bit kind of accent to it. We can see as you move pivot, we sort of increasing a little bit kick to it. Now, let me go back before and after. You see how empty was before? And now all of a sudden we have this little contrast look, and automatically our eyes kind of go right at it and start wondering what the hell is going to happen in that area. So next one, ground. Okay, very simple, same with the ground. For this one, I probably just gonna draw my own like that. This is a light, da 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 da. Okay. Okay, like this. Let's go into selection, and again, make sure it's soft. Don't work with a hard mask, because they're going to be noticeable and it's not good. Now, again, obviously, you know, for all this kind of stuff, make sure you track all your selection. So let's go with the plant somewhere in the middle where he's not crossing the frame. Okay, so this is going to be good tracking data. We don't need perspective. We have we have no rotation. We have no zoom. Okay, let's track forward. Okay, we're getting very solid tracking data over here. Let's do the very same backwards, and then we're going to do very same with the ground. Okay, Go back, go back, go back. He's smashing the windshield. I'm sure he's having a blast right now. Alright, so that looks good. Now for the ground. Again, let's see where he probably... Okay, let's start tracking from here, hopefully. Alright, so as you can see, it's not good. This whole thing's shaking because he crossed the frame. So what can we do? From the very beginning, we kind of can eliminate him, okay, just like that. And we can grab a little bit extra texture information for our track to be more successful. So let's do it. Okay, I see much better result over here. Okay, same thing. Now let's go back. And basically once the whole thing is tracked, I can return it to original position. All right, selection again. Looks great. Same thing. Contrast a little bit. And we can see with the pivot, we kind of almost manipulating the actual spotlight on the ground from this. So that looks fantastic. Let's see everything we've done so far. Before and after. Before and after. Okay, so that looks really cool. Now, in general, what we can do, we can paint this whole factory a little bit more warmer to kind of drag our eyes right at it. So let's do again another mask. And by the way, guys, I'm doing this completely random. I'm not preparing for any of my tutorials. I want things to be natural, as let's say you would be sitting with a client behind you. So I'm trying to imitate the whole stressful situation as much as possible. All right, so again, that looks like it's sticking pretty well. Okay, looks great. Now let's do the same thing back, smashing the window. Unfortunately, it's too dark to bring extra details from the window, so sometimes you kind of have to sacrifice that a little bit and kind of know where is it okay and where is it not, to try to bring details from shadows or highlights. All right, so here it is. Looks great. Let's make it like soft. Okay, make it inside, kind of like that. I really want very nice and soft. Now, I also don't want to have this thing crossing the car. So what we can do to make sure we have better quality sort of color grading, you know, I don't want to be cheap with the colors or make it look like amateur work. Obviously, we're not going to have any kind of information in blacks again. So let's just eliminate them and basically have our mask just with the colors. And we can see we have some noise dancing. Okay, let's create a softer mask. Let's see if we can still get it. Okay, a little bit, but it's fine at this time, and really nobody gonna see. All right, so as we can see now, our eye automatically kind of goes into that factory. Even though we've done very little bit, it looks very interesting now, sort of more adventurous. Now we can actually do a sort of dual layer of that and make it a little bit more on a global scale. Let me create another node, okay? And what we can do now, we can do a very big sort of pyramid over here, just like that. And let's go selection. Let's make it softer again. Okay, a little inside. I really love soft masks because that way nobody can really tell what you do. So now we can either change the temperature. Okay, we can either make it like cooler if we want to more. This kind of looks like Metal Gear Solid video game over here, Shadow Moses Island, or we can make it green, sort of more Blockbuster. We can see how with a simple adjustment we basically have two different looks and moods going on that technically we can select and basically go from. Like if we want to keep it like that, that's fine. You know, it looks like a action movie. If we want to keep it like that, it looks more like a spy movie or sci-fi. So it's always beautiful to kind of know what to do, where your color's at, to enhance the shot. It's all about enhancing the shot. It's not about fixing. Color grading about enhancing, not fixing. Remember, guys, I get so many people always telling me, oh, we'll fix it in post. Well, no. You're supposed to shoot everything correctly. And as we can see here, this is a very beautiful professional shot that you can do a lot of stuff with, and it's still gonna look amazing no matter what you do. So things happen in camera. The colorist emphasizing, enhancing the mood, the drama. Colorist is not there to fix the crappy exposure or blown highlights, because it's impossible. So keep that in mind, guys. Don't think that the colorist is a magician that cleans up crappy material for you, even though sometimes we do, but generally the colorist's job is to make something look beautiful, not fix things. All right, so here we have it. Let's do again, before and after. Very little adjustment. Look at that, very little adjustment, but look how much difference it makes. Completely stunning. Now let's take it a little bit more to another level. Let's add a little bit glow. Let's say it's winter, you know, things kind of nice and cold. Let's see, let's start rolling down, 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 down. Okay. And all of a sudden we can see that we're sort of getting into this interesting ballpark, and again our eyes start wondering like, what's going on there? What's gonna happen? Obviously this is too much, but if we're gonna go over here in the key, we can always dial it down to basically any kind of strength we want. If you don't want to make 100% like crazy, dial it down like that. Alright, now what else can we do? Another thing we can do is to completely clean the noise. I personally like to do it in the first note, but since we kind of passed that already, let's do in the last note. Okay, because this shot is very noisy, as you can see. There's a lot of chroma, which is very typical for the red cameras. So let's see if this, if we're gonna increase like to a crazy number and it's still gonna be there. With the noise reduction, you have to be very careful because sometimes it adds saturation. Like in this case, I did noise reduction and it's actually added saturation, which doesn't look too bad. I guess, you know, I can be sloppy and kind of leave it and say, okay, that looks good. But in general, when you do noise reduction, you always want to be careful and never go that much. But again, you need to know in what situation you can get away with it. Okay, when I zoom in, we can see that everything is actually looks very clean, so it looks fantastic. Now let's enhance this thing a little bit more. Let's wander our eyes a little bit more. So let me go over here, and again, you know, the number of nodes, this tutorial is not about really the proper way of putting the nodes. I'm gonna do a specific video about the structure, how you're supposed to keep it. This tutorial just about basically visuals, so you guys know what to kind of look for when you color grade, like what do you need to focus on and what can you achieve with the simple tools. So again, here let's do a little bit more, just like that. Very simple. Since we don't have any kind of movement or anything like that going on, this should be a very straightforward track. And by the way, guys, if you have relatively slow computer, turn off your noise reduction and your tracking will work much faster, because noise reduction does take a lot of juice from the computer, no matter how powerful your computer is. especially when you're adding like crazy number like I did. Okay, let's turn it back on. All right, so now we have this little funky pipe going on. Okay, let me adjust that. All right, so that looks good. Again, soft inside. Okay, great. So now I'm gonna increase the contrast again a little bit. Let me go over here. Give it a little pop. Okay. And here with the temperature, we can maybe make it a little bit cooler. That way we have kind of interesting situation going on. And I'm probably gonna reduce a little bit color from it. Okay, color boost, by the way, is like vibrance in Photoshop. All right, so here we have it. Very few simple adjustments made a huge difference. Let me go to the full screen over here. Let's play it back. Loop it. Let's play it back, and basically we have a very nice Blockbuster look over here from relatively simple lighting and setup. As you can see, I really didn't do much. I just basically play a little bit with the color. The adjustments are very minute. The color temperature was pretty much already set for me. So just another interesting example, guys, that what you can do with the very well materials. You don't have to do a lot of work when you receive a good quality material, footage, whatever you want to call it. So this looks already fantastic by default, and I'm gonna do a little more videos on it in the future, explaining you more in details, things like that. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.